Hello, everyone, and welcome to one of the open market consultation events of the InnoBuyer project. Today, Erasmus Medical Center is taking the center stage with this challenge called HomeRUN. I'm Mariana Neto from F6S, and I'll be here hosting the session. So for today, the agenda, we are going to start the session with a warm welcome from Bertrand Vert, innovation maker and innovation procurement advisor from European Innovation Council, that will be setting the stage for an exciting hour of innovation exploration. You will gain then insights into the InnoBuyer program, the driving force powered by European Innovation Council that fuels organizational growth. Kelly Voigt from Erasmus Medical Center will present a pressing challenge that requires innovation solutions. Obviously, this is an open market consultation event, so attendees are more than welcome to engage with the speakers in the Q&A session. There are two ways to participate. You can raise your hand and we will give you the ability to unmute yourself, or you can use the Q&A box to write your questions or comments or remarks. One final note, this event is being recorded, so for dissemination purpose in the scope of the InnoBuyer project. And without further ado, I would like to give the floor to Bertrand Vert.
Yeah, good morning. Muito obrigado, Mariana, and good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bertrand. I'm talking here from Brussels, and I do work for the European Innovation Council. Well, what is the European Innovation Council? We are part of the overall European research policy, and we are actually, our program is investing in companies, European SMEs and startups from all over Europe, covering any fields, and we are supporting them to innovate, actually, to develop new solutions and to reach the market. In doing so, actually, we are also supporting them towards several services that we are offering them in addition to the financing. And today's event is part of it. Explaining why. Because indeed, here the exercise of the day, or the challenge of the day, is to try to support on one side a procurer, in this case a public procurer, a public buyer, a public organization that is working actually in Netherlands, in Rotterdam, and it's a major hospital in Netherlands, in Rotterdam region, the Erasmus Hospital, and we are trying to support this hospital, this public organization, in procuring, buying new solutions for the challenge that they are facing in the ground. And in doing so, we are trying also to support the other side, the supply side, the suppliers that are part of our program, the very innovative SMEs and startups. And we are trying to support them and also all the other ones around Europe to try to actually give an answer, propose a pilot to the challenge identified by the Erasmus Hospital. So the EIC is supporting this ambition of supporting both sides, supply and demand, for procurement of innovation, and we do so via different programs such as InnoBuyer. InnoBuyer program that is actually run by a consortium that we are funding, where F6S works together with Civitas and TIC Biomed. So event like today, this open market consultation, we do have 14 others within the InnoBuyer program, and we have been running some in the last days. We will have some more today and still tomorrow, again covering very different sectors. So here is also a call for you that follows this presentation to have a look at the other opportunities if you are an innovative SME or startup that you could potentially offer to these 14 other buyers of innovation. Just to finally add that we do have other programs that are engaged also in supporting innovation procurement. So it's an encouragement for you to have a look at what the European Innovation Council is doing. you might become part of our ecosystem. You might benefit from our support, as the Erasmus Hospital is already doing, and we are very happy about it. So it's a strong encouragement to join us. Back to you, Mariana, and very eager to follow the presentation by the colleagues of Erasmus Hospital. And thanks, colleagues, for all the work that you do to the service of the citizens of Rotterdam.
Thank you, Bertrand, for this amazing presentation of the project and also the other sessions that are happening. So I just want to share a few words to complement about the InnoWire project and what it's coming up. So in a nutshell, the project brings together public and private organizations that we call challengers, the public organizations, and innovative SMEs we call solvers, so they can jointly co-create innovative solutions. In 4 sequential steps, InnoWire helps organizations to identify and describe innovation needs, to find and connect with innovation suppliers, to co-create pilots, and offers legal support to prepare a tender to purchase the co-created solutions. As you can see, there is funding support attached to each one of the actions. And up until now, we've been selecting 15 challenges and supporting them to improve the description of their unmet innovation need, like the one that you are going to meet today. And we are currently in the second phase of the program, where we help the challengers to connect with the innovation providers. So please follow us, stay tuned, because innovation providers will be able to propose their solutions and be able to apply for a call for solvers that will be launched this month. The selected applicant will be granted with 58,000 euros to co-create a pilot with the challengers in a 10-month period. So now let's move to the most important part of this session. Let's introduce Kelly Voigt from Erasmus Medical Center that will be presenting the challenge. Please, Kelly, the floor is yours. You could share your presentation.
Thank you, and thank you for the introduction. I hope everyone can see my screen. We are from the Erasmus Medical Center, and we are going to pitch the HomeRUN project, which aims to develop a patient-friendly, sustainable, and home-based capillary blood sampling device. So first, we want to introduce our hospital. We are based in Rotterdam, the Netherlands, and our 3 core tasks are to improve patient care, education, and research. And in order to improve patient care, we developed or we created this HomeRUN project. Currently, many patients are under surveillance for their disease. Approximately 60% of the Dutch population is diagnosed with at least one chronic disease, and this is similar to most European countries. As you can see in the figure below, in the upcoming 10 years, the cancer survivors will only increase more and more. And this means that more patients are under surveillance for their disease, whether it's oncological or not. Blood tests are often the cornerstone of these surveillance programs. Currently, patients have to go to the hospital to get their blood withdrawal. These hospital visits can have a negative impact on patients' well-being, as they have to go to the hospital where most often they had their surgery, and in some cases also had some complications. And these hospital follow-up moments can evoke distress and anxiety. And to give you an example how frequently patients have to visit the hospitals just for blood tests, there is a figure on the slide where you can see that especially in the first 2 years, in this case for patients who were treated for testicular cancer, have to visit the hospitals very frequently. Right now, they have to go to the hospital within office hours, so they are unable to go to work, have to travel by car or public transport, and as you can see on the picture, most often the parking spaces are not available in Rotterdam. But this is the case in most of the academic hospitals, but also other hospitals. They have to undergo a painful venipuncture, and all this leads to an inconvenient procedure, which is expensive and produces a lot of waste. Our goal with the HomeRUN project is to develop a prototype, a new blood sampling device, which patients can use at home. This device has to be user-friendly and sent by regular postmail. In order to improve patient satisfaction, also a home-based capillary blood sampling will be less time-consuming, as patients don't have to travel to the hospital and also don't have to leave work. And it's possible to do it after work or also in the weekends. And we want to make it more sustainable. So our objective is to improve patient satisfaction, ensure a painless experience, and promote environmental sustainability. Our requirements are that the device has to be easy to use, self-assess, also by elderly patients, fits within European mailboxes, so patients don't have to be at home or travel to a delivery center. We want to minimize waste reduction by using recycled or reusable products. It has to be compatible with standard laboratory procedures, so the blood measurements can be done in every hospital and don't have to be sent to specialized centers. And we have to create good training and educational materials in order to make it easy to use. Desirable would be if we would use validated capillary collection systems, because this will decrease the amount of time we need for the validation phase. It would be nice if the product could be integrated with mobile applications, and we could expand the number of test items. So not only one biomarker can be tested, but this is correlated with the amount of or the volume, the blood volume we can collect in the tubes. And finally, our less desirable requirement is to have multi-language support. So our pilot scope is to create a working prototype to develop a fully functional home-based blood sampling device, which is small enough to fit European mailboxes, and design a user-friendly and reliable device. And by doing so, we want to set up a small-scale test with 5 participants. And before they use the HomeRUN device, they will receive comprehensive training and support, and we will gather feedback, mostly focusing on experience with the device's usability and overall satisfaction with the sampling process. The expected impact, well, we want to improve patients' experience. Based on our preliminary study, the upper arm capillary sampling method was less painful compared to the regular venipuncture, which is used right now, but also compared to lancet capillary sampling. We want to reduce hospital costs, reduce individual expenses, address shortage of medical personnel, and we want to enhance work productivity, because patients don't have to travel to the hospital within office hours, but also for our hospital staff. The business opportunity, well, this device can be used in almost every department inside the hospital, but also outside of the hospital where blood tests are needed. And the market potential is that a HomeRUN device, which we want to create, will reduce hospital visits improve patients' experience and environmental sustainability. And this HomeRUN sampling device has the potential to benefit a wide range of patients and also healthcare providers. Before we want to end, we have some questions for you. Is there anything in our challenge, in our HomeRUN challenge, that you would like to be explained more in depth? In your opinion, what would be a good solution for our challenge? And what do you think would be the main barriers for the development of our HomeRUN device? Thank you for listening.
Great. Thank you, Kelly, for your great presentation. So now we are open to questions.
Very impressive challenge, if I can share. Thanks.
Thank you.
I know someone may have the microphone open next to you because it's making some some echo. Let me share here that we will have with us for the Q&A session the medical center team, the Erasmus Medical Center team, Kelly Boyd, Bruno, and Elise Van Driel. So if any of the participants would like to raise their hand or write us a question, all the team is here to follow your doubts. And in the beginning, we have here Bertrand.
Yes, if I may ask, thank you, Mariana. If I may ask to Kelly and colleagues, what is the current status in Erasmus Hospital? Did you develop any of these techniques, or you are starting from scratch totally? That's one thing. And on the other thing is, what's the timing more or less for you to acquire this solution? So at first stage, we will be supporting you hopefully for the developing of a pilot. But then at second stage, do you wish to mainstream it if it works in your hospital?
Thank you for your question. We are not starting from scratch. We tried out a lancet capillary sampling and also an upper arm device, but both of these devices do not meet our requirements, which were mentioned in our slide. So we are trying to create a new device because in order to actually improve patient satisfaction, we think we need to meet all these requirements first before we can roll out the sampling device in more departments. But we are using some home-based sampling devices in studies right now. And most interesting, patients are really satisfied with drawing their blood at home. And for the pilot, our first step will be to create a working prototype, and afterwards we will have to see what kind of steps are needed to roll it out in daily clinic. But we think there is a lot of potential for this device, as every department, every patient needs blood sampling.
Thank you, Kelly.
And if I may ask again, Kelly, sorry for that. What's a bit of the state of the art? You say that you tried some solutions, but other type of solution existing in Netherlands or elsewhere in Europe? You have any clue on this, or?
Well, we searched the internet, and our colleagues from the laboratory also have some some insights. And right now, there is no device which meets all of our requirements, and that's why we are in this program.
So if I may comment, yeah, this is a very innovative solution that you're looking for. This is great to learn. And indeed, it will be the absolutely essential that we succeed to support you in this endeavor.
Thank you.
Can I just add a little bit to this? Because I think what is already known in the field is that capillary blood sampling is reliable, it is patient-friendly, and that many test results that we want to get out of this it can actually be drawn in a home-based situation. That is to say that those results need to be stable for a couple of days, because as you can imagine, if one patient draws blood at home, that patient has to send it to a hospital, so that takes a couple of days, which is different than when you draw it in the hospital, where you can process it immediately. But there are many day-to-day values that we want to test in blood that are stable for a couple of days. So we think that there's a huge market opportunity here, not only for what we tried in our pilot projects already is tumor markers, specifically for bowel cancer. That's a very well-known thing, but also other tumor markers like prostate cancer is very attractive, and many other things in fields other than cancer. So when you asked, are you starting from scratch? Well, not at all. But we still think there needs to be this final step of improvements to get this thing flying, so to speak.
Thank you for the clarification. We have here three questions that I'm going to read. I'm going to read for you. So the first question: how many testers would be involved in pilot testing? I think I saw that in the slides, but
yeah,
Kelly.
So yeah, thank you, Eric, for your question. For the co-pilot for the InnoBio program, we would like to use 5 patients or 5 participants to test the experience for patients before we go further to a validation phase. So that will be the co-pilot for the InnoBio program, and afterwards, if we're not using already validated collection tubes, we still need to set up a pilot. And based on our experience, we cannot tell you right now how many patients that will be. It really depends on what kind of tubes we are using and what's already been done. But for the pilot, so for the InnoBio program, it's 5 participants.
Perfect. Thank you. And the second question: thank you for the presentation. What are the biggest challenges they are facing regarding capillary sampling? Is it quality of sample or volume of the sampling?
So the biggest challenge we experienced in our previous study is not the quality of the sample. I think it will most definitely be the volume of the sample that we will have to improve. Yes.
If I can add to that, that depends on what you want to test, because for like the thing that we tested already, the CEA levels, which is the cancer test on bowel cancer, then you only need a couple of microliters, so you have easily enough blood for that. But if you want to increase your market potential, and if you want to increase the number of tests you want to drive on your blood samples, Well, obviously, the more volume you get out of it, the better it is. So volume is definitely one thing that we have to look at if you look at microneedles to collect blood.
Perfect. I think that answers really completely.
Well, and just one other additional comment to the number, because 5 seems very low, but this is only patient experience. And if we are able to have a device that collects the blood in an already validated microcontainer, that is because those collection devices are already there. So if the device, the solution, will provide us already validated collection containers, then we don't have to have a huge validation set of patients for that, if you see what I mean. But if not, if we have a new device that is completely developed from scratch, then we need to go through the validation process of all different blood tests that we need to do. So this is purely for patient satisfaction.
Thank you. Third question. Also, do the samples need to be analyzed in your hospital? And if so, can their lab analyze DBS or whole blood in a microcontainer? Thank you.
Well, if I can answer that as well, this can only fly if it's a container. If we can collect blood that can be sent to the hospital that patient is known. So the hospital that uses regular blood testing machinery, so that we can feed the microcontainers directly to the machines. That would be the ideal solution.
Thank you. Oh, well, yeah, thank you. Well, Anna raises their hand. Please go ahead, Anna.
Hi, I hope you hear me. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
The second is a question I have. I was wondering, because you're going to be part of the process of selecting the solver, obviously. So my question was, and I was wondering, what is the most important aspect of the solver's composition? What is the key decision factor when it comes to solver that you will be analyzing? So yeah, what is the selling point, let's say?
Well, as I said before, that it would be fantastic if we can have a solution that has a collection container that we can already use, because that will leave us from enormous validation studies. So that's just a practical thing. But from the existing devices that there are, the main drawbacks are that they're not sustainable. They're plastics. They then do not fit our mailboxes. So that's a huge drawback, I think, in letting this device be used over the next few years throughout Europe. I think definitely needs to be more sustainable than that. So that's a very important selection process for us as well.
Thank you. Well, we have another question. What size is your mailboxes? The participant is from Spain and is not aware.
I actually have to look this up myself. I have it somewhere. Oh, yeah. So it will be 26 or 27 centimeters and 3 centimeters high. So 27 by 3.
Well,
yeah, smaller than that.
This is a good thing about the EU, isn't it? Because there are EU prerequisites for everything. So also European mailboxes. So that's why we for that.
Thank you, guys. We love Europe. Sometimes, often.
Yeah, yes, European standards. So the participant is saying that it fits. Thank you. If someone would like to from the participants, if someone would like to talk, just raise your hand and we could give you the ability to open your microphone. So the session is dynamic.
If I may, yes, Mariana, don't. I mean, it might appear as a joke, yeah, but just to thank you to the person that asked the question, and we see clearly here the added value of having a common European market, and in addition to that, it's not only good to have an open market, but it's also important to have same standards and norms. And yeah, we can imagine all the work that needed to be developed to arrive to such common standard of these on these very common aspects of the mailboxes. But yeah, you see that in very concrete real life, it might have some important consequences. One little thing that comes to my mind that is not directly perhaps linked to your solution, but here in Belgium and elsewhere in Europe, about all this sampling collection, notably, we see all these drones applications that have been developed. Did you think of this potential also solution? Can they be linked actually to your current development? Because I know that there are several experimentations done here in Belgium, I'm sure in Netherlands too, and France.
Yeah, definitely. If these devices or these companies have all the requirements we need, it would be possible. I see one more question. Would they be able to share some info on why upper arm is more comfortable than the Lancet capillary sampling? We tested both of these techniques in more than 100 participants, and the most common answer is for the upper arm device, most devices use microneedles, and for the Lancet capillary sampling, you use a bigger needle. And the upper arm device also collects the blood directly in a collection tube. And for the Lancet capillary sampling or the finger pricking, you have to to point your finger at the top of the collection tube. And sometimes you also have to use some pressure on your finger to have enough blood volume. So that's the most common answer we got from our patients.
Thanks. Thank you.
And I think also the fingers are more sensible than an upper arm.
Yeah, it's great that you've been able to test some refinement of the features for your solution. Great.
Yeah, I think we tested in about 100 patients, and 100 out of 100 would prefer the microneedling over a finger Lancet prick, the finger prick. So it's definitely more patient friendly.
Perfect. Been a really fruitful discussion. We still have time to ask more questions or maybe some comments if some of the participants would like to engage and comment something. We are open. Meanwhile, I'm always sharing here channels of Buyer for all the attendees to follow. Stay tuned for the open call features that will come this month. All the information will be posted and shared. If you subscribe to the newsletter, it will come to you. Or if you would like to read the questions and answers, the most frequently questions will be posted in the discussion page. I will put it again here in the chat, the links. I've done it in the beginning, but you could go through these links, save and follow. Also, as Bertrand mentioned it, there are other challenges. So you could, there are 15, so you could follow the other. Meanwhile, we have another question. Have you tested with some of the brands available in the market, like Tasso or others? And what could be improved? Hope it's okay if I keep asking. Yes, of course. You could keep asking, or you could also raise your hand, and we will unmute your microphone. Don't worry, but the chat box is perfect. So Erasmus Medical Center, would you like to answer to this question?
Yes, we have tested with brands available in the market, and well, the device worked, but the devices we currently know of are too big to fit in European mailboxes and also produce a lot of waste. So that are two key points that we want to improve with our device. For just the experience for patients and also the blood volume collected at home, and also the sending the collection tubes by post mail. All those things worked out. Yes.
Yeah, so what you can clearly see is that these things are made for the American market, where very important issues that we think are there in Europe, so like sustainability and to make green solutions for hospital care, are not on top of the minds of American producers. So in order to get this thing really get foot of the ground in Europe, I think sustainability is key here.
Oh, thank you. So this team knows very well what they want. It's innovative, and it's covering a lot of experts. So, well, we have here someone that would like to talk from the participants. I'm going to give Isabel the floor.
Hello, actually, I've been asking a lot of questions. Thank you so much for taking the time to answer and for providing this challenge that I think it's really cool. So one more question that I had, and please shut me down if I keep asking too much, but is when you're talking about making this product or this new kit sustainable, what parts are you thinking that could be reusable and to make it more sustainable for the planet and so on?
Yeah, it's a very good question, because it's a balance always between keeping it as one device. So the definite pro of having a one-off device is that you don't have an experience. You don't need to be experienced as a patient to make this to assemble the product prior to using it. So you just have the box, you apply it to your arm, and that's you done. And then you bin it. But the part of binning it is the one thing that we dislike. So either you use better reusable plastics or biodegradable plastics, or we can find a solution that you have a cartridge with the microneedles in it that have a very easy clickable system on it, so that you can reuse the container and just have cartridge refills of the microneedles. But that needs to be foolproof, because otherwise, if you ask patients, especially elderly patients, to have a lot of actions that need to be done before they can use the product to draw the bloods, that will be difficult, I think.
Yeah, super interesting. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you. So I'm really happy that this questions and answers session is being very dynamic. We've covered a lot of features possible features for your product and requirements. Bertrand, please go ahead.
Yes, I will. If you allow me, I will again use this time to make a bit of publicity in relation to Bayer, and just to inform our audience, including you guys from Rotterdam, that we have potentially some more challenges that will be open in the next month. So actually, if you have other ideas, other challenges that you would like to be supported for, we can indeed see, and we just invite you to think over. That will be with a great pleasure, and use this opportunity to thanks again warmly the team, and for the brilliant innovation that you wish to see being developed. And I really hope that all our EIC companies or any other companies, SMEs and startups from Europe will be able to support you in this journey. So thanks a lot again.
Thank you. So we still have time. Some questions or comments if someone would like to write us or talk. Also, your presentation was very clear, so, and the questions and answers.
Thank you.
Maybe some of the participants are very clarified. We are reaching the end of the session. So maybe here as to the thank you session. I would like to thank all of the speakers and all of the attendees. It was a really great innovation hour. Just the reminders, the publicity, to continue and follow F6S platforms for this challenge, and also for the other ones that Bertrand was also mentioning, for discussion of other questions that may arise. You have the discussion page, and also we invite you to subscribe the newsletter. Stay tuned, because the open calls specifications will come up in a short term time. So thank you. Enjoy your day. Thank you for joining us today.